So by this waves, I was trying to say was this, that in stammering, they're up and down, very frequent, happening almost every second day or third day we say, कल तो मैं नहीं हकला रहा था, आज क्या हो गया है? या समटाइम ऐसा होता है कि कल तो मैंने क्लास में सवाल पूछा था बगैर हकलाए, आज मैं इतना क्यों रुक रहा हूँ? तो ये डे टू डे वेरिएशंस हैं, एंड दे आर हैपनिंग वेरी फास्ट, every day, every second day, every week. And then there are these bigger waves, bigger sine waves going up and down over a period of maybe months. Maybe for 3 months, 4 months, you are having a wonderful phase of success and progress with or without speech therapy. Sometimes it happens even without speech therapy, but very often it happens with intervention. If you're doing something for your stammering, or if somebody else is doing something with you to make you to improve your fluency, then you notice that things are going on very well, and suddenly after 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, or maybe after a year, you find, and of course it's not correct, but you feel as if you have gone back to square one. And that is what we are referring to as relapse, and that is the theme today we are going to discuss. So relapse, and of course as we go along, we will also talk about whether relapse is a correct term or not, because Dr. Amit Bajaj has given me some inputs, and he is offering a point of view that maybe relapse and recovery are not right terms for stammering, because it is based on neurodiversity, it's based on behavior, it's not on a disease which can be cured and then comes back after 6 months, like it happens in tuberculosis. Has anyone heard about tuberculosis being cured and then after 2 years again it comes back? क्या किसी ने ऐसा कोई वाकया सुना है कि किसी को ट्यूबरकुलोसिस थी, उसने 1.5 साल पूरी दवाई खाई? आजकल तो खैर 1.5 साल से कम हो गया है. नाउ डेज देर आर 3 month कोर्सेज, 6 month कोर्सेज, and in 6 months or 3 months the TB is cured, and after 2 year, 3 year, the person again starts having the same symptoms: night fever, weight loss, लॉस ऑफ एपिटाइट, रात को शाम को बुखार आना, ये सब चीज़ें शुरू हो जाती हैं. तो रिलैप्स जो है वो उन कंडीशंस के लिए ज़्यादा अप्रोप्रिएट है, मगर फिलहाल हम रिलैप्स से काम चलाएंगे, एंड वी विल ट्राई टू टॉक अबाउट रिलैप्स. सो आई विल इनवाइट ध्रुव to talk about his experiences. As I said, that all of us have lot of such experiences. हम सबको कभी न कभी ये मुश्किल हुई है कि कुछ पल के लिए, कुछ महीनों के लिए, कुछ साल के लिए हम बहुत अच्छा बोल रहे थे, फिर कुछ हुआ, कोई छोटी सी बात, या कई बार हमें हमें वजह समझ में भी नहीं आती कि ऐसा क्या हो गया, एंड एकाएक हमारी मुश्किलें फिर से लौट के आ जाती हैं. तो ये स्टैमरिंग में भी होता है, ये कई मेंटल प्रॉब्लम्स, मेंटल इश्यूज में होता है. जैसे मैं अभी बता रहा था कि कि मुझे कई बार डिप्रेशन लौट लौट कर आया है, ठीक भी हो जाता है, फिर कभी लौट के आ जाता है. तो so I will invite Dhruv to share his experience, because first we have to understand what does it look like, the phenomenology of a relapse. ये क्या फिनोमेना है, ये कैसा लगता है देखने में, कैसा फील होता है? So over to Dhruv. Dhruv, can you summarize your experience with the recent issues which you faced?
Sure. Thank you so much and welcome everybody. Good evening. Um, so to summarize, I guess basically from October or so last year, I kind of like began, you could say, work on a new project. And I like be began to kind of you know, talk to new people, and I began to feel like my old patterns were returning. And that was because for the months before that, I kind of wasn't like really doing like that much new work. I was kind of like in routine, you could say. But from October or so, since I began like interacting with new people, I I and I think what actually happened before that was not the actual stuttering behavior, but were the thoughts and emotions associated with stuttering. So those same thoughts and emotions came back. Like if you've heard of the iceberg theory, right? So like the like thoughts and emotions which are like below the iceberg, I think resurfaced. Which is like I should not stutter. If I stutter, what will this person think of me? Um, yeah, and those thought and those thoughts and feelings, I think, made me then like physically again try not to stutter, right? Yeah, yeah. And I think just so you guys know, then October, November, December, and then in Jan, like Dr. Sachin and I were having a call, and I said, "Hey, I need some help with my stammering again. Let's do workshops." So, in fact, the One Body workshop series kind of came out, out of that period, you could say. Yeah.
So,
So in
Dhruv,
some ways, like, sorry.
yeah. So I
No, I
wanted to
mean,
know,
sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just wanted to know what was your first reaction when you discovered that you are in a relapse? What was your first reaction?
So in some ways, I like couldn't kind of tell that I was in the relapse when it was happening. Like, I think that, yeah, like maybe Dr. Amit was saying, it's not so clear cut that I'm one day perfectly recovered and one day in relapse. But I think it's like a day-to-day like feeling. Like, for example, I'll wake up in the morning and be like, damn, I'm really afraid to talk to this person today. Like, what if I stammer a lot? And then those thoughts and feelings come back. And then in the moment when I'm talking to that person, those thoughts and feelings are coming back. Um, Sorry, so you're asking what was my reaction when I became
Uh,
aware of that?
yeah, were you surprised? Were you shocked? Or were you mildly surprised? Were you traumatized?
I think I think, so I think I definitely was in a better place than I was before, right? So I think these years of being in TISA and ex sort of working on acceptance and stuff really helped because I think as soon as that was happening, I communicated immediately to the person I was talking with, but like to let them know, hey, by the way, I stammer. This is what I'm doing now. It's going to keep happening throughout this conversation and throughout these days that we're interacting. But don't worry, I'm completely fine. Yeah, so I was able to kind of like what's called self-disclose. Um, and I think that actually made it a lot better. I think I also then tried to voluntarily stammer multiple times, and with one of the key people who I was interacting with, I even like talked about voluntary stammering and said, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to be doing this thing called voluntary stammering. Um, this is what it is." And I demonstrated it. And I said, just so you know, because it kind of helps me regain some control of my speech.
So
Um,
I want to quantify the impact it had on you in terms of for a long time you had sort of your speech was under control. You were part of TISA. You were playing a very active role in TISA. You were helping other people. You were conducting workshops in Mumbai, SSG meeting in Mumbai. So things were manageable, were good. Uh, and then you had this relapse, and it was something important enough for you to say that to me, to reach out to me for help. So I am trying to understand that when this relapse happened, was it as bad as your original problems with the stammering years ago, or was it less serious than that? I mean, because I'm trying to understand why did you make that phone call to me and say that I'm facing difficulties, we should do something about it. So
hmm.
how many marks will you give to the seriousness of this relapse on a scale of 10?
It's hard to quantify something that's qualitative because
Yes.
we're talking about feelings and emotions.
True, true.
But I think, yeah, so definitely, I think I was definitely in a better place than I was, for example, when I was having difficulty before knowing about TISA or other, support self-help organizations or knowing other people who stammer. So I think I was definitely in a better place. And also, like I was saying, I think my training or my learning in TISA and other organizations, I think has helped me a lot to kind of recognize that, okay, this is what's happening. And what I need to do actually is to do X, Y, and Z. So I kind of knew what I had to do. Like I was gonna reach out to friends who would understand. I began to go back to SSG. I began to, I think, join. So by the way, in the past, this has happened to me before, right? So in some ways, I think every time I'm going through a new phase in life, well, I think there's two factors: a new phase in life, a career transition, location move, or something. Second thing is that I lose touch with TISA or lose touch with self-help and support and stammering. So when those two things happen, I can almost predict that there's gonna be a quote unquote relapse, you know?
Right, right. So it means,
Um,
that now you have become good enough to forecast about it. I mean, now you know enough about yourself and about your stammering that you are able to forecast it. And also, the other thing which I'm able to understand from your case study is this, that whatever happens, you never slide all the way back to square one. It is not that you reach square one. However bad a relapse may be, you're always in a better place,
mm,
because you've been through the whole thing, and you also know what are the strategies which I can use to help myself. And
mm,
so in a sense, a relapse is not as bad as our original experience with stammering many years ago.
mm,
Of course it feels bad. You are surprised, you are a little bit shocked also, why is this happening? But still it is not as bad as it seems. So that's the good news, and that I want to highlight, that when relapse happen, we don't have to throw our arms up in the air and say, oh my God, how can this happen to me? After all these years, I've been the founder of TISA. How can I stammer now? We are not supposed to react like that, because it is never that bad. So thank you
mm,
very much. And second thing, as you said, that you already know what to do and you began doing it. And now we will come to the causes. What can cause a relapse? But for that, I think we can go to the breakout room and let the group also decide, because they also, I'm sure, had much experience of these kind of ups and downs in stammering journey. So let me put everyone into two breakout rooms, or maybe three, and then we can discuss what could be the cause of relapse. Possibly you can rely on your own experiences, and then we can meet in the in the plenary section, in the plenary session, and talk about it. So it will be just 5 minutes. I've opened the rooms. Dhruv can also join one room. I can also join one room, and we'll talk about what causes relapse. What has caused relapse in our own lives? Maybe 5 years ago, maybe 6 months back. What happened? Why did it happen?
relapse के chances बढ़ जाते हैं. And other than that, I would also say that initially when we, as a person who stammers, जब हम different techniques practice करते हैं and उनको ढंग से like practice नहीं करते हैं and implement नहीं करते, तो वहाँ पे हमारे breathing patterns थोड़े change हो जाते हैं, जिस वजह से relapse आ सकता है short term. तो ये मैं add करना चाहूँगा in terms of relapse. And now I would like to give chance to others.
थैंक यू कुशागरा जी,
हाँ
आपने
जी.
रिलैप्स के रिगार्डिंग अपना एक्सपीरियंस हमारे साथ शेयर किया। वरुण जी ने भी अपना हैंड रेज किया हुआ है, तो मैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि वो अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके अपनी बात हमारे सामने रखें।
सर, जब मेरे माइंड में कभी कभी आता है कि जब जैसे कम्युनिकेशन इस वर्ड पर मैं स्टैमर करूंगा या फिर अटकूंगा, तभी मुझे वो रिकॉल होता है। वरना कभी कभी फ्लुएंटली मैं बोल जाता हूँ, पर कभी कभी दिमाग में पहले से ही क्लिक हो जाता है कि यहाँ पर मैं अटकूंगा, तो फिर मैं वहीं पर ही अटकता हूँ। मेनली जब प्रेजेंटेशन देता है या फिर तब होता है, या फिर जब सीनियर से टॉक करता हूँ, तब ये प्रॉब्लम होती है।
वरुण जी, आप कुछ और भी कहना चाहेंगे? ओके, थैंक यू। वरुण जी, आपने अपना एक्सपीरियंस हमारे सामने शेयर किया। हमारे साथ इस ब्रेकआउट रूम में सुनील सोनी भी हैं और अहमद भाई भी हैं। तो सुनील सोनी ने अपना हैंड रेस किया है, तो मैं चाहूँगा कि वो भी अपनी बात हमारे सामने रखें।
हेलो, क्या आप मेरे को सुन पा रहे हो अभी?
यस, यू आर ऑडिबल, प्लीज स्पीक अप।
ओके, सो अभी लास्ट मंथ क्या हुआ था कि मैं थोड़ा अपने काम के चक्कर में एसएसजी ज़्यादा ज्वाइन नहीं कर पाया, और थोड़ी प्रैक्टिस भी छूट गई थी। तो वापस वही स्टैमरिंग ज़्यादा हो गई थी। तो फिर मैंने मैंने क्या सोचा कि ओके, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। अगर मेरी स्टैमरिंग ज़्यादा हो गई तो अभी मैं इसको सॉल्व कर सकता हूँ कैसे। तो मैंने हाथों हाथ क्या किया कि जो मेरे जोधपुर, जैसे कि मैं जोधपुर शहर में रहता हूँ, तो जो जहाँ पे हम लोग 4-5 लोग हम एसएसजी में जाते हैं, उन सबको कॉल किया मैंने कि अभी नेक्स्ट जो संडे आएगा वहाँ पे हम एसएसजी करेंगे। और उसके साथ में मैंने वापस प्रैक्टिस चालू कर दी। तो मेरी जो स्टैमरिंग है वो वापस नॉर्मल लेवल पे आ गई। फिर अभी लास्ट फिर अभी लास्ट संडे को हमारे एक ऑफिस में एक प्रोग्राम था, जहाँ पे मेरे को एक जहाँ पे मेरे को है वो स्टेज पे एज ए गेस्ट मेरे को इनवाइट किया गया था। तो वहाँ पर मेरे को स्पीच देनी थी और कुछ कॉन्वर्सेशन करनी थी। तो मैंने जाते ही पहले मैंने उनको बोल दिया कि हेलो गाइस, मैं थोड़ा सा बोलते बोलते मैं रुकता हूँ, तो अगर आपको मेरी कोई बात समझ नहीं आए तो आप वापस मेरे को पूछ लेना। उससे क्या हुआ कि मैं उसके बावजूद भी मैं अटका था, लेकिन मेरी जो हार्ट बीट थी वो नॉर्मल थी और मेरा डर कुछ नहीं था। तो मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि हाँ, जब टीसा में ज्वाइन होने के बाद में अब भी ध्यान में है कि हाँ, अगर मेरी स्टैबरिंग कभी बढ़ती भी है तो इसको मैं कैसे कंट्रोल कर सकता हूँ। तो वो चीज़ अभी मेरे को ध्यान में है। उससे मैं इस दिक्कत को और जो इस डर है इसको मैं अभी कम कर पाया हूँ। सो ये मेरा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस था। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू
ब- बहुत बढ़िया। हारून,
सुनील।
आप भी शेयर करना चाहेंगे अपना एक्सपीरियंस?
जी
हारून।
जी, मैं भी अपना एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना चाहूँगा कि
बल्कि
मैंने
एक्सपीरियंस
आज से।
एक्सपीरियंस नहीं, बल्कि आपके ख्याल से क्या फैक्टर्स हैं जो कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं रिलैप्स को, क्यों रिलैप्स होता है?
जी, इसके वैसे तो कुछ रीजंस हमें ध्रुव जी ने भी बताए हैं और मैं उनको फिर रिपीट करना चाहूँगा कि इसके कुछ साइकोलॉजिकल फैक्टर्स हो सकते हैं, न्यूरोलॉजिकल फैक्टर्स हो सकते हैं, और इसके कुछ एनवायरमेंटल फैक्टर होते हैं कि जब हम पब्लिक स्पीकिंग में आते हैं तो उस वक्त हमारे जो नेगेटिव थॉट्स होती हैं वो हमारी एक्टिवेट हो जाती हैं। या जब हमने कोई लास्ट प्रेजेंटेशन दी होती है, कोई इंटरव्यू जब हम दे रहे होते हैं, तो जो हमारे बैड एक्सपीरियंसेस होते हैं वो उस टाइम पर ट्रिगर होते हैं। या फिर कह लें कि जो नेगेटिव एक्सपीरियंस होते हैं हमारे, वो हमारे फियर को, हमारी हेजिटेशन को एक्टिव कर देते हैं। और बाज़ औक़ात ऐसा भी होता है कि कभी कभी जब हम किसी मीटिंग में होते हैं उस वक्त कोई पर्सनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आ जाता है, तो उस केस में भी हमारे जो स्टैमरिंग होती है वो रिलैप्स कर जाती है, क्योंकि हमें नहीं पता होता कि मैंने इस सिचुएशन में कैसे अपनी बात रखनी है। हम अपनी ब्रीदिंग पैटर्न भूल जाते हैं और अपनी बात को दूसरे से इम्पोर्टेंस देने के लिए हम तेज तेज बात करना शुरू कर देते हैं। तो इसके ये भी फैक्टर हो सकते हैं। और बाज़ औक़ात ऐसा होता है कि हम जब जब जॉब लॉस हमारी हो जाती है, हम किसी पोजीशन से फायर हो जाते हैं, उस केस में भी हम हमारा रिलैप्स होता है कि हम अपने आप को वर्थलेस समझना शुरू कर देते हैं कि मैं किसी काम का नहीं हूँ। तो ये कुछ रीजंस हैं जिसकी बेस पर रिलैप्सेस होते हैं, या फिर जब हम एक जॉब से दूसरी जॉब या एक कंपनी को छोड़कर दूसरी कंपनी में जाते हैं, दोस्तों की कंपनी को छोड़ते हैं, तो ये काफ़ी सारी रीज़न एक रिलैप्स की वजह वजह बन सकते हैं।
थैंक यू सो मच। मैंने अभी ब्रेकआउट रूम को बंद किया है। हम लोग वापस मेन सेशन में जाएंगे और इन चीज़ों को शेयर करेंगे। देखते हैं बाकी लोगों ने क्या वजूहात निकाली हैं इस बारे में।
थैंक यू।
We begin to, okay, I'll just say that again. I think in our group, the factors that contribute to relapse that came up in the discussion can be summarized as when we begin to try not to stammer,
Right.
which can happen in an instant, right? I mean, just to say, you see somebody who you want to talk to, or you see someone, or you're all of a sudden have a client call, or you're on a phone call or in-person meeting, and all of a sudden that feeling and thought comes back, psychosomatic, whatever you want to call it, the feeling,
Mm,
it's like,
mm,
oh, I shouldn't stammer here.
mm.
And then, yeah, anyway, we can kind of talk about solutions later, like what do you do then? But if that happens and you begin to believe it and you begin to really feel, oh, I shouldn't stammer in this situation, I think that's when the fireworks will go off. Well then you'll try
Okay.
everything that you can to try not to stammer, which I think
Yeah.
then can lead to a lot of the same feelings of shame and then pre-post anyway. Yeah, go ahead.
But hadn't we already learned that trying not to stammer is the cause of stammering itself? How come we fall in the same trap again after all these months?
I think it's because it's difficult. It's very easy to intellectually know, okay, it's okay to stammer. PISA exists. There's 80 million people in the world who stammer. Intellectually, it all makes sense. Stammering is okay and normal.
Mm, mm.
But then physiologically, like you guys were discussing on Saturday, psychosomatic, in the
Yes.
body all of a sudden feels like, oh, I shouldn't stammer in this situation. And we also know that, I mean, to not take the conversation in this direction, but research has shown like discrimination a little bit and stuff, right? So we kind of also like, it's normal to think, okay, in front of this person or what, I should not, or I don't want to show my stammering. Uh, and that's exactly where the intervention is needed, right? Um,
We get a thought like, I will stammer in the Parliament of India, but I will not stammer in the presence of this one person. So why does this madness come over us? What is the big deal? We will happily stammer in the market with the chai wala, with the auto wala, but not, but not to this particular person. How does this madness start? Why does it happen? And of course,
mm,
we have already known that every time we try to avoid stammering, it becomes worse. है ना? So, acha, anyway, so I want to move further and I want to find out, did your group come up with any other idea, any other factor which contributes to relapse?
mm,
Okay, in the meantime, I will invite other group. For example, Harun's group
mm.
Harun can share their findings briefly, one
we
line,
yes
bullet
we
points.
yes 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 we find out few reason behind the relapse. For
Mm,
example, sometime brains coordination of speech muscles weakens over the time, and sometime the tired brain uh, s- 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 sometime the tired brain struggles with the speech fluency, and sometime the personal conflict can bring the back stammering, and sometime the negative past experiences with speech can create the fear and hesitation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Harun, for summarizing all the ideas very nicely, very neatly. Over to Vidya. Vidya, what did your group discuss? I mean, what do you think are the factors which contribute to relapse?
Actually, I belong to the same group as Dhruv.
Okay. Is there anything left? Do you want to add something more from your personal experience? Have you ever had a relapse?
Yes, I was. So when I initially started the podcast, I was like feeling okay because I had to stammer in front of everybody who also stammers. So I was not feeling the pressure. But then later I understood, I mean, like I was trying to be perfect in my podcast, uh, but that actually made me stammer more. I could literally feel that like the more and more I try to be smooth and fast,
Yeah.
I stammered more. And also I started giving so much, uh, like as if this is something very huge kind of thing started to come. But
Yes,
now
yes.
I think like it has, I try to not put that kind of pressure on myself.
Right. I think whenever we get a little success, we immediately fall in love with fluency and we want that spell to continue forever and ever and ever. But that is not in the nature of things. We are bound to stammer on a word here and there. Even normal people stumble randomly on a word here and there. So we are no exceptions. So we also stumble. And when we stumble, we overreact. How can I stammer? I've been doing so well for last 6 months. So we react even more, and then we stammer even more. So I want to get some feedback from the third group. Anybody who was in that third group which is not covered yet? Okay, Kushagra is already covered. Anybody else in the third group?
Yeah, the group was me and some other guys. So there were some points that we discussed that came out were that negative experiences can trigger a relapse. Okay, being away from TISA for a long time can trigger a relapse, and being anxious about something different and which is not in our hands can trigger a relapse. And yeah, a difficult situation can trigger like a bad experience that I said. So these things were discussed.
Thank you so much, Yatharth. My list also has got more or less same ideas, but I will still share my list very quickly. Number one is when anxiety and stress suddenly goes up in our lives. Like when we have lost a job. I was working fine in a job for last 3 years and suddenly they lay off people and I am also there unfortunately. So I've lost a job suddenly out of the blue. And now I'm under a lot of stress that will I get another job or not? Will I get another job in 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, or will I have to wait for 1 year? And will I be able to crack the interviews which which essentially a part of looking for a job? Will I be able to crack those telephone interviews and all those things? So when suddenly your life is hit by stress and anxiety, you may find that suddenly your speech also starts coming apart, and you find that your fluency has suddenly become very bad. You were speaking fine for last 6 months, 7 months, 2 year, 3 year, and you had reached a point of good control over your speech. You were becoming pretty good at managing your stammering. You were using techniques. You were doing all those things. You were calling strangers. You were attending SHG meeting, and suddenly you have lost a job, and now you are so worried that you don't even go to SHG because it means wasting 3 hours to your mind. It seems like a wastage of time. So suddenly, when you need your TISA backup most, at that time only, you turn away from that help. You yourself turn away from that and you say, where's the time to attend SHG? Where's the time to make stranger calls and practice techniques? So this could be one reason, sudden anxiety or stress in life. Second is reduce practice and maintenance. Actually, every technique requires a maintenance. It's like, like our ACs are working fine. But suppose you go on some foreign assignments for 3 years and you come back after 3 years and then you start your AC. What are the chances that it will work perfectly? Very low. It may not work because for 3 years it has been lying unused, no maintenance done. So in the same way, our speech also requires maintenance. But when we do not give it that maintenance, when we stop our practices, then chances of relapse are very high. And it can happen for a variety of reasons. It could be simply because so far you are working in Delhi, where there is a very good SHG meetings every Sunday. You are transferred to a small place in somewhere in Gujarat where you know nobody, where you can't even speak the same language. And so now you don't know how to do your practice. And suddenly your practice has stopped. And then one day, one fine morning, you find that you can't even say your name. Your stammering has come back with vengeance. So that could be one reason. Reduce practice and not doing maintenance practice. Even when you become very, very good at bouncing and prolongation, still you should do a maintenance practice of calling a stranger and purposely doing bouncing or prolongation with a stranger, maybe once a month, maybe once in 2 months, but that maintenance dose has to be given. The third thing is emotional associations. Sometimes we have got certain associations with situations or people which act as a trigger. I remember when I was a child, I was studying in a boarding school. So for 9 months, I was in the boarding school with other children. I was happily talking, I and uh, and I wouldn't even think about stammering. But whenever I'll come home, the thought that I'm going to talk to my father used to bring back old associations. My father was a very nice father, but as a child, I had this idea that he's an army man. He always talks in a very loud voice. Actually, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He never shouted at me. He never slapped me or beat me. But I simply had this funny idea that my father is an army man and he thinks that the world is a parade ground. And he's supposed to be shouting at everyone, Tino teen bhai mudega. So as a child, I had this funny idea. And so therefore, whenever I would return home from my boarding schools for winter vacation, my stammering will go up. So sometimes these associations with people or situations or places or roles can trigger your stammering. I mean, I know one case where somebody told me that he is leading a SHG, he's doing very well, he has he has learned how to manage his stammering, everything is fine. But once in a while, when his mother-in-law phones him, actually the mother-in-law phones his daughter. In other words, his wife. But if she's not around and if he is forced to pick up the phone, then all the old bad memories come to him, jump upon him, and he finds that he's stammering helplessly. So this also is a possibility which we have to keep in mind. I mean, if something like this is happening, then obviously we need to have a little frank, open, heart-to-heart chat with your father or mother-in-law or with your ex-boss or whatever. So what I'm trying to say is this, that if there's an emotional issue, if there are triggers with certain people or situations, then you need to confront it, talk about it, have a open discussion with that person, or do a little bit of cognitive behavioral therapy session with the help of a friend or a counselor. And the last cause in my list is lack of supportive system can contribute to relapse. If you are speaking fine thanks to Delhi SHG and suddenly Delhi SHG stops functioning, which it has done many times in the past. I've known Delhi SHG from since 2004-5, and I know that in last 20 years there were many years when no meeting was happening. Why? Because the people who could lead the session, they had been transferred out of the city, or they were married, they had some family responsibilities, and so they could not. And when they were functioning in the SHG, they did not bother to develop a second line of management. So when they got busy or they got a chance to go to France, the meetings stopped. So when suddenly your support system is no more there, chances are you will face a relapse sooner or later. So this is the fourth factor. So Dhruv, I would like you to come back again on this topic and tell us what do you think was the cause of your relapse or the factors which contributed. Over to Dhruv, if you want to
Yeah,
share.
yeah. I think like I was sort of saying before, I think it was sort of I sort of began a new project, so kind of like a life transition. So new people were involved. Um, I had gone from being comfortable like with what I was doing before, and now I had to interact with new people on yeah, so it's sort of this new project. So then that was sort of like a transition for me. Um, yeah, yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think that was sort of the main thing. And in the past, also like a life transition, like moving, locations, I think has contributed as well. Also, like we were saying, sort of not keeping myself occupied or staying at home a lot and being alone, not regular interaction, and also losing touch with my support system. So like not going to SSGs anymore or TSUN meetings. I think all of those contributed. Yeah.
I think this is a very true statement. Sometime back, I came across a news item somewhere on internet that somebody in Bangalore had said a very outrageous thing. He said that if my company is paying me so much, why do I need a family? I can just hire a maid to come and cook for me, and then what do I need? So sometimes this happens that because we have got enough resources, we think we don't need human beings. So sometimes this happens that thanks to our modern consumer culture, where we are the consumers and everything else is a resource, including our servants, family, children, everybody is a resource. And so because of that, sometimes we think that if I've got set up every system in my home, then I don't need to go out to a park. I've got my gym in my home. I've got my 80-inch TV at home. I've got internet connection. So what do I need? I can talk to my friends on Zoom. So I don't need to have a real connection or real friendships. So sometimes this happens, and because of that, we stop talking. We stop talking to real people. Talking to a face on the screen is not a really a real experience. It can't be compared with a real experience of communication. And because of that, people who are very comfortable talking to people on a screen, they may have a lot of difficulty when they actually go to the park and talk to someone. So, so I think this is the important thing that constant practice is needed. And for constant practice, we need to have friends around us. We need relationships. We need uncle, aunts, cousins. We need so many people to make us who we are. So that is one important thing which we need to keep in mind. I think we need to go back again into the breakout room to now to work out the solutions. What are the solutions? If somebody goes into relapse, what are the three things or four things he or she can do to help herself out of the problem?
Mm.
So remember, relapse, we are talking about relapse. You were doing fine, your speech was fine, and suddenly one day you find that you are not able to say your name, you are not able to talk to people. So this is a relapse. What do you do then? Three, four things. So
So,
I'm
so, so, and like
yeah,
one thing I just wanted to clarify is that like it's possible that you may st be stammering more, but
yes,
your feelings and thoughts about your stammering are neutral or positive. It's not considered a
yes.
relapse, I would say.
Yeah,
It,
yeah. Actually, uh,
it
actually,
just
uh, the paper which Dr. Amit Bajaj had sent you through, he sent that paper to me also, and I was reading that paper. So I made some notes from that paper, and one of the major ideas in that paper was, as you said, that there is a difference between stuttering behavior and the overall condition. I mean, stammering hurts us because it does certain things to our life, to our world. We are not able to pursue the job which we want to. We wanted to go for a medical career, but instead of that, we go for accounts. So the impact which is happening and our stuttering behavior, these two are two separate realities, and there's a gap between that. And so, therefore, this author was saying in that paper that both recovery and relapse may not have any connection with actual stammering. It may have more connection with the with your perception of stammering, your attitude, your ability to accept yourself, and so those kind of attitudinal things have more bearing on relapse and recovery than actual stammering. A person who is stammering a lot may be labeled by a therapist that he's stammering, he is into it, his stammering has come back. But that person may simply refuse and say, no, I'm fine, I'm okay. So that is quite
exactly.
possible.
Yeah, yeah.
That's quite possible. In fact, that happens
It's
quite a lot of time.
exactly. It's
That
like how you like how you like if you feel and think about your stammering, maybe
Yes,
positive, but you may be
yes,
stammering,
yes, yes,
a lot. So yeah.
yes. And because of that, now in speech therapy, they say that assessment cannot have more weightage than self-reporting. If a stammerer is reporting himself that I'm okay with my stammering, then the therapist should take that into consideration. And he should not really, go about counting his how many number of words he stammered on, how many words he spoke, all that stuff. So, okay, so now we will go back to the rooms and find out what can a person do if he or she is in a relapse. Practical ideas, and maybe three, four, not more than that.
So we are discussing strategies that when we kind of like begin to realize that I'm having a relapse or I'm having negative feelings and thoughts about my stammering, what do we do? Some things we already talked about was voluntarily stammering. We talked about, I mean, Yogesh mentioned some practice. So like he mentioned like to talking in front of the mirror. Something that I was mentioning was recognizing that it's okay to have those negative thoughts and feelings. Because at times I realize that if I begin to then panic and begin to react to those negative thoughts and feelings, I can kind of create more shame,
Yes. Yes.
you know, which is then even more unhelpful. Like I
Yes.
am cursing myself for even having these thoughts, and because
Yes.
like I said earlier.
Yes.
So yeah, so accepting
Mhm.
that moment also, that it's
Mhm.
normal and natural.
Yes.
And then if possible, begin kind of like talk talking about stammering with the person that I'm talking to, just to kind of
Mhm.
like let them know that, hey, by the way, I'm
Mhm.
having a hard time with my speech right now. Did you know that I stammer?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then we start talking about stammering.
I
Um,
think whatever you did, you did all the right steps. Like number one, you phoned a friend and you said, I'm facing a relapse. You phoned me and you said, I'm having a relapse. Then you said, we need to do something about it. So can we do some communication workshops? So then you organize the communication workshop where you also acted as a resource person. You led some of those sessions. You talk to people. So you did all the right things, and this is what I think anybody and everybody can implement. The moment they become aware that something is wrong, instead of trying to deal with it on their own, they can talk to a friend, somebody they trust. It can be a peer counselor, it can be a friend, it can be a mentor. And I mean, if they can say that, hey man, something is wrong with me, I'm stammering a lot, even this act of verbalizing it will reduce the pressure on that person. And then, as you said, then whatever steps they can take, like participating in the SHG meeting, which you're doing right now. You're doing the Mumbai SHG meeting. You're leading yourself. You're participating in that. Then you conducted the communication workshop. For that, you have to make many phone calls. You have to deal with many conversations, face to face, sometime online. So all that brought you back from the brink, in the sense that it gave you intense practice over a short period, and has brought back the sense of control, some control.
Mm.
The other thing which we can do is to do journaling, because how does journaling help? The reason is that sometimes these factors may be very subtle. We don't realize why my speech is going bad. Sometimes these factors could be very insidious. They are not very obvious. And therefore, if you're writing a journal, you might be able to pinpoint, okay, last night I had a talk with my father and it did not go very well. He is quite disappointed with me. If you are writing these kind of things in journal, then chances are you will become aware that your relapse is because of this ongoing bad vibrations in the home or in the office with the boss. So journaling develops a sense of insights. It sharpens your insights, and because of the insight, you are able to pinpoint the trigger, and then you are able to deal with that squarely. So journaling is a good practice. It makes you more observant, more full of insights, more understanding of your inner world. What is causing you stress? Why are you so uncomfortable in the office? Okay, I had an argument with so and so, and it is still unresolved. So once you become aware of that, then you can try for closure. You can have a good talk with that person, open chat or whatever. Vidya, what is your feedback? What can a person do?
I was speaking. I told like if we approach any situation neutrally, but I think that is
Yes.
little bit difficult. Consider like some might be a high state and some uh, needs. Some other way of pressure can be there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. Uh, but it's better to have that. Detach ourselves from the actual uh, um, the I don't know how to tell it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So I just wanted to share that I'm here in Prayagraj, the place where I was born, and I'm staying in the house which our father built, and now it is inherited by my elder brother. And last night I also had a heart-to-heart chat, because when the house was partitioned, because my eldest brother wanted to sell his part, and the house was not really big enough, but somehow he insisted and he had his part, and then he sold that portion. So whatever was left, my elder brother number two, who inherited this part, he built it up properly, and for last many years I had a kind of a little bit of anxiety and sadness, that what was my role in the partition of this house. was it possible for me to to stop it? I mean, is it possible for me to talk to my both brothers and say, don't do this? So last night I had a big chat with him, and he also opened up and he also talked about his feelings. I also spoke about my feelings, and in a roundabout sense, sort of, I made him understand that whatever has happened against my wish. I could not do anything about it. And so after that, both of us were feeling quite relieved. So sometime having a little conversation, even if it requires a lot of courage, sometimes that is a good solution, good answer to a lingering problem. Of course, we all have to do a proper, cost benefit analysis of a step like that. And we all are in a very different kind of life situation. But by and large, this is a good principle that if we can talk, it can help us a lot. Yogesh, what is your feedback? What can people do who are caught up in a relapse?
Yeah, hi. So I have added one point that they should, to increase their confidence, they should talk in front of the mirror, or you had said the alternative that either find a friend and speak to him. So if you cannot find any friend, then the best thing is to speak in front of the mirror.
Right.
And the second, we can use which technique is this that if we use like this we- where we are not able to find the flow, we can use so I think that it breaks the flow also, and it gives us the time to uh, please gain our thoughts and then speak them.
Yogesh, have you ever done this thing yourself? I mean, talking in front of a mirror?
Yes, earlier I used to do that when I was not so old.
Okay, okay.
Earlier,
So I want to know one thing. When you were doing it earlier, you will look into the mirror and talk to yourself, right?
yes.
Did you at that time ever do something like phoning a friend and watching yourself in a mirror? Phoning a friend and watching yourself in a mirror. Did you ever do that?
No, no. I,
I just want to add to your information that looking in mirror and just talking may not be challenging enough, and we grow only through challenges. So to make it challenging, you can look into the mirror but talk to a friend on phone, because then you will actually notice your stammering. When you are alone talking to the mirror, you may not stammer much. In fact, you may not stammer at all, because you know that you are alone there with a mirror. And you can say in the mirror ki I am the most confident person. I am speaking fine. I am very fluent person. You can do all these affirmations and self-talk. That is not going to challenge you. And we grow only by challenging ourselves. When you go to the gym, you don't pick up 1 kilogram. That will not that will not help you. You have to pick up at least 10 kg, 15 kg, 20 kg, 40, 50, 100 kg. Only then you become stronger. So even if you want to use a mirror, a better approach would be to dial a friend, talk to the friend, and look into the mirror and notice your things. Anyway, so but what you said is right, that we should do something to help ourselves, whatever works for us, and then we should talk to a friend. And of course, if we are part of a SHG, we should start visiting SHG again. There are many people who join SHG for 3 months, 6 months, they are benefited, and then they slack off, they stop attending SHG meeting. But if they can restart again, then again all those benefits will come back to them. So relapse is a special situation, and it's sort of saying that you know what to do with me. Please do the same thing again. So Yogesh, what are you doing right now? Which city are you from?
I am from Faridabad.
From
Faridabad.
Faridabad. Okay. Have you ever attended a Delhi SHG?
Yes, last I couldn't attend. Prior to that, I had attended SL.
Okay,
I,
and how big is stammering a problem for you? How many marks will you give it out of 10? Is it a big problem or small problem for you?
well, right now it's not so much big, but somehow the fear is there in me, so I can say uh, how means how much far big is the problem. So I can say that it is 4 point big, 3.4 point big, but it is
Out of 10?
uh,
Out of 10 or out of 5?
out of 10.
Out
Means
of 10,
it's a
right.
small
Y-
problem, obviously, because
Okay,
I am
okay,
a software developer, so
okay,
my
okay, got
work
it.
does
Got it.
not in this.
ठीक. But you mentioned something about fear.
Yeah,
What is that fear about?
since that I'm single only, so to be frank, the fear of having a good life partner.
Okay, okay, okay. So if the fear is big enough for you, and if the fear is real enough for you, then you should do something about it. And as I said, we grow only through challenges. You grow only by lifting heavy weights. So
Yeah, so
I would
I
really
would like to
recommend
add that
go to SHG.
fear has been fear everything and run and face everything and rise. So I think that
Yes,
we should go the other way around, face everything and rise.
yes. So go to Delhi SHGs, face your fears. Thank you so much. So let us uh, s- close the breakout room and go back to the main session. Okay, so who wants to go first? Let me invite Jay. Jay didn't get any chance to speak so far. Jay,
So you
please
are
tell us. Jay, can you hear me?
sir, are you talking to me? Sir, are you calling me? This is
I'm
Saurabh.
calling Jay. Jay. I'm calling
Okay.
Jay.
Hello,
Yes.
hello. Yes, yes, sir. Actually,
So
I
can
was
you?
not in the room due. Yes, I
Okay,
was not
okay.
in the room due to some reason.
No problem. No problem. So on off your own bat, what do you think should people do when they are in a relapse?
Sorry, sir.
What should people do to deal with the relapse? Just share your own understanding.
Uh, Actually, when I got relapse, then the first feeling was like depression. That why it is written. So I asked myself that why it is returning, but I don't get any answer. That why it is happening. Some time ago, I was like very fluent speaker, and suddenly what happened that I'm struggling very badly.
Hold on here. Hold on. Hold on. I just want to bring in either Vidya or Dhruv to throw more light on this point. That first reaction of in relapses, as Jay said, I don't know what has happened to me, why my speech has gone bad. Not knowing what is wrong, how is this connected with journaling? We talked about that in their group. So who wants to explain that? Dhruv, do you want to do this? We talked about how journaling can play a role in this.
Right, right. Yeah, I think when you kind of then just begin to write down your thoughts, it's possible that you will sort of ask like your subconscious thoughts will come out. You kind of ask yourself, what am I actually thinking? Because you're writing about it. So you might notice that is some factor in your life that's causing stress or anxiety. or something like that. So then, yeah, you can kind of determine the causes then.
Yes. I mean, these subtle insidious factors appear very tangible and objective on piece of paper. When you write it down, then you can see, okay, these are the causes which are driving this worsening of my speech. I have a bad relationship with my boss. I had an argument with my father, or I had this, or I've lost my job, and I'm worrying too much about it. So when you see these thoughts on a piece of paper written down, they become more tangible, more objective, and then you can deal with them. As long as everything is inside here, it's a confused mess, and you can't make sense. So back to Jay. So Jay, we have tried to answer your question number one, your idea number one, that you had no clue why did this happen.
Yes.
Move on from there. Next point.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Jay, go on, carry on. What can we do about
Yes, sir. What?
relapse?
Uh, Actually, I, I am finding answer, but I am not getting answer. So actually I want to learn. I
Okay,
want some help from you that what could I do and what should I do to
okay,
not
okay,
think about that relapse and what could be done right to handle that situation.
okay. So we will talk about solutions now, but I want to invite others also to join this, to contribute. So, for example, who wants to contribute to this? What can be done about relapse?
Yeah.
Okay, Saurabh, go on. Saurabh.
Yeah. So as you mentioned earlier, like
Hmm.
what relapse is,
Hmm.
and when we have a dictionary part, what relapse not is, like how to deal with it in that case, like when someone have not practicing and just to just to get it from the TSAs communities. So in that case, of course, it will feel a relapse. So there is one thing, just touch with the community because it will support a lot. When you feel when you feel like a stammerer, just drop a message and interact with anyone. It will be calm your mind immediately. And apart from that, like sir, when I'm talking about the stress or the anxiety, see, sir, stress and anxiety are the part of psychological behavior. What do you think? If I'm talking about the stammering, so stammering having the two components, psychological and the neurological. Neurological aspect, then we cannot do anything because this is somehow our brain is full. But when we talk about the psychological behavior, it means that let's let's say if someone a facilitator or an instructor, if someone is stuck uh, during the class, then in that case the emotion that we are feeling, that which is nothing but the psychological behavior, but let it to be a neurological rather than psychological. So in that case, what can we do? We can do like just to accept yourself what you are, and 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 like that. So in that case, we can adopt it, and we can deal it with. So yeah, yeah, because yeah, there is one thing like sir, there are millions of circumstances which cannot be changed, but there is one thing that we can change from our side, which is nothing but our attitude of having, yeah, being a stammer, or just to accept yourself. Yeah.
Okay, your point is well taken. I have understood your point of view very well. You are saying that you can't change the world, you can't change your boss, but you can certainly change your own thoughts and attitude towards stammering. You can accept your stammering, and so that your struggle will come down. Thank you so much, Saurabh. Harun, can you contribute just 3 points, 3 ideas? I know you've got a
Yes.
long list.
No, I have a
Just
short
give me
number of
three.
points regarding
Right.
this. First of all, instead of panicking, we should remind ourselves that relapsing is a part of stammering journey. And second point is we should go to our basics, like do the breathing exercises, slow reading, and the third thing is sharing the experiences with our supportive friends, family, or some if possible, some speech therapist, which which help us to reduce the our mental burden. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harun. Dhruv, you want to add something to this list? It's very comprehensive. But
Yeah,
is there
yeah, no,
anything you want to emphasize or highlight?
yeah. I mean, like what's been shared so far, I think is very comprehensive. I think what I just wanted to highlight is if we're saying that the factors can be, stress or anxiety in other parts of life, they kind of then, bring those thoughts and feelings back about, say, maybe low self-confidence, which can then lead to trigger more stammering, etc. And going back to our old patterns, I think working on the causes of the stress and anxiety. So, for example, just yeah, like some simple things like slowing down, doing some meditation, going for a walk, going to the gym, stuff like that. Like taking care of ourselves and what's actually causing that stress and anxiety. I think that that can then go a long way. Um, talk, talking to a friend. Yeah.
And I think one thing which is really very important is having a functioning self-help group next to you is biggest insurance against relapse. So it is in our own interest that we contribute some effort to the SHG in our city instead of outsourcing everything to others. That others will manage. So and so is a very good coordinator, so he can manage. I don't need to bother. No, having a functioning SHG in our city is a big support for us. So in other words, all of us should contribute something, some effort, some time, some care into any SHG group which is close to us. Okay, Yatharth also want to contribute something. Yatharth, go on.
Yes, thank you, sir. I just want to add one point that I shared with the group. It's also that after analyzing the whole situation, that yeah, we have accepted that we are having a relapse, and we should have a proper roadmap to what we want to achieve now, and what are the steps that we can take, and we can write it all down, all the practice and all the confidence building activities we can do in every week or every day. So like have a systematic plan to be executed now, from now on, when we know that we are having a relapse.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Yatharth. I think if I were to pick up 3 things, I will say functioning self-help group, journaling, and third thing I would say a regular routine that every Saturday I will call strangers and practice one technique with them. Or every Sunday, I will go to this ashram next to my home and sit there for 3 hours doing some meditation or some calming activity. So things like that can be very important for us. But of course, the list can be very long because all of us are very different. And And another thing is, I want to share some of these ideas which Dr. Amit Bajaj has shared with me. You can think of these as bonus points. The main discussion is over. We have talked about what relapse is, what could be the causes, and we have also shared about how one can deal with it. And now I just want to share these thoughts which Amit Bajaj has shared with me, because these are pretty good ideas to keep in mind. So can everyone read this page which I have shared with you? Can anyone read the first line?
Yeah,
Saurav Gupta. Ha,
yeah.
ha. Go on. Read the first line.
Re, relapse, a medical term, implies preceding cure.
Right. So, one of the counter questions or the other school of thought is, which says that a relapse is not a right term because it assumes that there was a cure earlier. But something like cure is just not applicable to stammering. Cure is more applicable to infectious diseases or things like very physical kind of disorders. So that is not a very good term. A better term would be behavioral regression, that I was behaving in a certain way and not there's a regression to an earlier stage. You must have heard about regression in an adult when he starts behaving like a child. So in other words, he has simply gone back to a older version of himself. This is a better term for stammering. And then other thing what he said was this, that a better name would be setback and comeback. So setback and comeback can be used as the two sides of the same coin. While uh, we have a setback because of certain reasons, our stammering has become worse, and then we put in some effort, and then we have a comeback. So setback and comeback is a better term for to describe relapse in stammering and recovery from stammering. And neurological behaviors are very variable and cyclical. Neurological behavior, I want to give an example. And you can actually try it sometime, especially when friends come and say cheese and they are taking a photograph and you smile. If they ask you to smile twice, if they say, okay, I missed the first shot, smile again. Second time, your smile is bound to be different. So if you stand in front of a mirror and try to smile 3 times exactly in the same way, you'll find it's impossible. Every time smile is going to be different, because a smile uh, uh, is a is a manifestation of your nerves sending signals to your muscles. Essentially, it's a neurological activity, and therefore it is different. So neurological activities, they are variable and cyclical. What's the difference between variable and cyclical? Kushagra, can you explain in the context of stammering? What
Yes,
do
sir.
we mean variable and cyclical? How are they different?
Sir, in terms of stammering, I think a variable and a cyclical neurological behavior can be categorized with an example. So, a cyclical can be termed as a trigger point which can cause a cause us to relapse into stammering, and a variable one can be introduction of a factor in a life which we can't anticipate. For example, if we're trying to have a spontaneous conversation and we can't have a time to prepare a speech or practice a technique, so that can cause a relapse. So yeah, so on the top of mind, these are the two examples I
Okay,
can think.
fine. Thank you, fine. So, let me add a couple of more examples. For example, we all are a stammerer here, but we all stammer in different ways. Some people go in a silent block. Some people, when they stammer, they repeat the sound. Jitendra. My name is Jitendra. Some people will go in a silent block. They'll say, my name is, and they'll be silent. They're struggling, but inside, and they're able to hide it on the face. So all our stammering behavior is very variable. Even the same stammerer may not stammer exactly in the same way throughout the day. In the morning, he stammers slightly differently with his boss. Then with the cab driver, he stammers a in a different manner. Again, at home, he may stammer differently. So this is the variability, that we are not stammering in the same manner. We are stammering in different ways. And cyclical means that there are fixed cycles. For example, at one time I used to stammer, my stammering used to become worse towards the end of the day, in the evening. In the morning, I'll be speaking fine. Hey, hello, guy. Everything is going hunky-dory. I'm talking fine. But but in the evening by 4 p.m. I'll be tired and I'll be stammering more. So it was a kind of cyclical pattern. Morning fine, evening bad. Some people I have heard even saying that I stammer more in the winters. Why is that? So it could have a cyclical nature also, and it also has got a variable nature. Why? Because it's a neurological behavior. If your leg is broken, if your bone is broken, then its impact is only in one form. You can't walk because your leg is broken. If your muscle is cut, if you've got a soft tissue injury, you all bleed in the same manner. But neurological problem will manifest in different ways. So this is what Dr. Amit Bajaj is trying to emphasize here. Regarding dealing with relapse, he recommends these three things: regular engagement with desensitization. He says that people, after finishing TOPG or after becoming a little better, they stop desensitization exercises. They stop telling people that I stammer. They did it in TOPG. They did it in the early days in TISA. But after 3 years, they say, why do I need to do this? They stop doing it. And then one day, it bursts. Invent some role which involves above: podcasting, YouTube channel, regular lounge. Some people join TISA or any self-help group movement. They they put a they put in a lot of effort for 1 year, 6 months, and when their speech becomes a little better, then they stop doing these things totally. But what we think is important, that you should keep in touch with these activities in some reduced form, but keep the touch. Earlier, if you were doing a lot of practice every day, now you may do it only once a week. On Saturday morning, you just call one stranger. And the other idea is this, that you invent some role for yourself where doing these things become natural part of your routine. For example, you can start podcasting. If you are releasing a podcast every week, you are bound to practice your techniques, your skills, and everything. And some people here have done it. I'm sure they can vouchsafe that doing regular podcasting has helped them. You can ask Vidya. Vidya, has it helped you to interview women once every week or once every 10 days?
Yes, absolutely. It has helped. It has helped me to, constantly practice techniques. It's a very great place to, you can test and experiment with techniques. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And you can immediately see the output also on YouTube. And you can also, get inspired by the comments which people leave there. Of course,
Yeah.
stammers are very conjuice. They are very stingy when it comes to leaving comments, as if you are asking them for dollars. They don't even leave comments, but some people do. And Harun here also has been doing it. He's been doing mock interview for people. So Harun, what is your experience? All this thing which you are doing so well in TISA, and we are always very grateful to you for doing it. But is it helping you also, Harun? Harun, are you there? Okay, so I think we've lost him. Anyway,
Yes,
so
yes,
but
it helps me. I can listen
uh,
you. So I am
yeah,
saying that it helps. It
I think now we have lost him. Anyway, so basic idea was this, that all of you who are doing some volunteer work with TISA, Harun, Vidya, and Yatharth, and all those people. You're doing something regularly. You have discovered a role for yourself in TISA, and now you're doing those things, and I believe you enjoy them also. And in the process, it's helping you to maintain the gains which you have gained in TOPG or in joining TISA. Whatever you gained is staying with you because you are doing these maintenance activities. As Harun is doing his mock interviews, he's organizing lounge and all those things. So that forces him to talk, and then see the output in the recorded video. So, so this is the idea given by Dr. Amit Bajaj, that even when we think that we have cured our stammering, of course, things like cure is not there in stammering. We are never cured. We will always have stammering with us. But even if we think that I have put behind all my problem, I am free of them, even then we should continue to be in touch with things which have helped us at some point. Stranger talk, doing podcast, interviewing strangers, or whatever. Last thing, research on the causes of setback. You to deal with a relapse, you should know what has caused it. And you can do this only by doing journaling, because only journaling will give you that kind of insight and data to analyze and understand, okay, my relapse is because of this. So I should deal with these factors. Another paper which he contributed had some very nice quotes, which I must read to you. Recovery was a change in attitude concerning stuttering. Attitudinal change was indicated by acceptance, desensitization, or increasing awareness of capabilities. So recovery from relapse or recovery from stammering is not when you stop stammering. It's more because of change in attitude and increased awareness of capabilities. When you become aware that, okay, even with this stammering, I can do this. I can start a podcast, I can interview people. When you become aware of your capabilities, that is a sure and certain way towards recovery. Not so much controlling your stammering. So in this paper, he was talking about a research. The author found that recovery came about due to increased feelings of self-worth or capability, reduced feelings of helplessness. So true recovery is based on these things: increased feeling of self-worth. It is not based on whether you have stopped stammering or not. So actual act of stammering, Jagdish, that is much less important. More important is your feelings of self-worth or capability, reduced feelings of helplessness, and increased awareness of the circumstances and personal behaviors involved with stammering. So personal behavior means earlier you were avoiding certain things like going to tea shop, ordering your things. Now you're doing it. Even though you're stammering, but you're ordering your own food in restaurant. That is what governs recovery. So here you can see that these insights suggest that recovery from the adverse impact of stuttering may include increased participation in life activities and improvement in personal factors such as acceptance, self-confidence, and motivation to communicate. And just last three more quotes. Recovery and relapse can be conceptualized and experienced differently by different individuals. This also we have to always keep in mind that we all are going to stammer differently. And to all of us, recovery will appear in different shapes. Recovery to me may mean something different than what it means to Kushagra. There are many phenotypes of stuttering, so too can there be multiple pathways and facets to recovery and relapse. And these must be considered on an individual by individual basis. So this also is very important, that if you think that you have recovered from your relapse, then you should not listen to somebody else who says कि अरे बेटा तुम तो अभी भी हकला रहे हो. If a neighbor says to you, son, you're still stammering, don't pay attention to him. In your mind, in your heart, if you have come out of that mindset, if you have come out of that sadness, that feeling of helplessness, if you are more aware of your capabilities, then you should believe that you have recovered from your relapse, from your stammering. Then don't pay attention to what people say. Come on, man, you are still stammering. So be very aware that you are the better judge of your status. Are you still stammering or not? Is stammering still a problem or not? And this is why I ask people, how many marks will you give to your difficulties with stammering on a scale of 10? Okay, guys. So thank you so much. We have covered almost everything. And so unless somebody has got any question or any observation, any feedback at the end, we can take that. Any comments, any questions, any feedback from anybody before we conclude?
Sir,
I think, yeah, go on.
sir, can you please share the link of this research paper which has been summarized by Dr. Bajaj?
Yeah, I will share this in Telegram group. I'll share the
Okay,
video
sir.
also, this video too. And
Okay.
definitely I'll do that. And so before we conclude, I will request Dhruv to come back on the stage and share his thoughts and his feelings and his plans. Because this whole session started because he had a relapse and he had the common sense to talk about it. So, Dhruv, what are your thoughts now?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I just wanted to highlight was that it's perfectly normal for like like these the thoughts and the feelings to come back, and stammering kind of like old patterns to come back as well. Yeah, so it's perfectly normal and natural, in fact. And I think I what I'm going to be doing now is kind of like so kind of like then reactive. So for example, like, making like 2 phone calls every day in the morning and using voluntary stuttering when I'm doing those phone calls. We'll going to SSG more often, kind of like staying in touch with TISA, either online and definitely in person. Um, and also kind of like being more proactive as well, like when I'm actually like going through those thoughts and feelings and talking to somebody, and I'm noticing that in this situation I'm getting, anxiety about my stammering and I'm trying to hide my stammering again. What I kind of try and do now, if possible, and usually it's always possible, is to kind of just let the person know that, hey, by the way, as you can probably tell, I'm stammering a lot today. Can you tell? Do you know what stammering is? And then kind of having a conversation about that can be very useful. And also then throwing in some voluntary stammering then as well to kind of like desensitize myself to the moment of stammering. Yeah, all of those.
Great idea, Dhruv. I think you have conquered your battle. You're already on the right path, moving in the right direction at a good speed. So, all of us wish you all the best. So, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Hello,
Yes, Jay, you want to say something?
can I